Hello everybody, Legend for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new anime deck discussion. Well, this time around it's actually a manga deck discussion. So, this deck is the Yokai deck that Bastion plays in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga. For those who don't know, Bastion in the manga, he plays this deck instead of playing his Magnet deck, his scientific deck in the anime. In the anime, most of his decks are based around science, but in the manga, it's actually based on like Japanese myths and stuff like that, and it's reflected in that these monsters are called the Yokai. Now, for those who don't know, Yokai in Japanese is monster or something like that. I'm going off of what I know from Rosario Vampire, so just kind of bear with me. And now, interesting thing about these monsters is that they are not an archetype, they are an actual new type of monster exclusive to the manga called the Yokai. See right there, Yokai type monster. And that is very interesting because I can't think of very many like anime or manga exclusive types. Like, I mean, I know like the Nordic god cards were divine beasts, and they were changed to different ones depending on which one you're talking about, to basically make it to where the Egyptian god cards were really even more special because they wanted them to be the only divine beast cards in the game. Actually, I think the Nordic god cards were printed before divine beast was an actual legal type in the game. Now, that is very interesting because one of these guys has actually already been printed, and that is Mizuki. Everybody knows about Mizuki. He's been retooled as a zombie and has basically the same effect as he had in the manga. But however, instead of special summoning a yokai monster from your graveyard, he special summons a zombie type. Now, let's actually get to talking about these things. So here's the boss monster of the deck, Daidara Bocchi. 2900 attack, 2500 defense. He's a yokai type dark monster, and he cannot be special summoned, but he gets 200 attack for each yokai monster on the field. And that does not include himself, so he doesn't even count for himself. Now, as the boss monster of the deck, in terms of like just going by the manga, if you're talking about just in the manga, he's fine. But however, if this deck were to be printed in real life, they would have to change that a lot. They'd have to add in more things. Because really, if this deck was printed, I'd see no reason to play this guy. He's a big level 10, 2900 attack. Sure, he's got a crap ton of attack power, but he cannot be special summoned, and all he does is get more attack. He has no protection for himself. I guess if you wanted to keep him like that, you could also give him an Armades effect or something. You know, make him make people want to play this thing. I mean, look at that. He's a big muscle-bound monster. Make him strong is what I'm saying here. Now, for the rest of the monsters, aside from the boss monster, you'll see a recurring thing that they have something to do with the graveyard. And that is very interesting. They play a lot like zombies, but very differently. Now then, this is what I actually consider to be the true boss monster deck, because it's a lot better. This is Nine-Tailed Fox, 2200 attack, 2000 defense. You can special summon this card from your graveyard by tributing 2 yokai type monsters. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, if this attacks the defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. When this card is destroyed, special summon 2 Fox tokens. Now, it doesn't specify anything about Fox tokens, so I'm going to assume that they're level 1, 0 attack, 0 defense. Now then, I really like this card a lot. First and foremost, it helps out with the archetype. These guys like to be in the graveyard and they like to come back from the graveyard. Also, it has pretty decent stats for a level 6, especially from GX era. Secondly, it does piercing damage, and it makes up for its for being destroyed, where you get 2 tokens. Granted, nothing is specified about these tokens because it's from the manga. Let's just assume they're level 1, 0 attack, 0 defense, and they are yokai. That can help out a lot because if they don't get killed next turn or anything, you can just tribute off those 2 tokens, summon it out back again from your graveyard. This makes a much better boss monster for the deck than this guy. Okay, just saying. Now then, this is Gozuki, the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? He goes together with Mizuki. Granted, for some reason, Mizuki manga version is not on YGO Pro, which is kind of annoying. Now, these guys actually used to be treated as zombie types on YGO Pro, but then they changed them to yokai, to, they actually incorporated the yokai into here. as an effect, so that then that way it's more like the actual manga. Now then, Gozuki, once per turn you can send a yokai type monster from your deck to graveyard. That is amazing. Okay, so let's say they do print these guys. Obviously, they retold them as zombies. So once per turn, you can send a zombie type monster from your deck to the graveyard. That would be, first and foremost, he'd be a mandatory staple in just about every single zombie deck ever imaginable. And secondly, he did saying that would be really, really amazing. And considering that he combos with Mizuki, which allows you to special summon your stuff from the graveyard, because once we get to these guys, you'll see, well, okay, maybe not so much this guy, but these two, the main two monsters, they like being in the graveyard and they like being summoned from the graveyard. And that is just really good. Not to mention, he has really good stats. He has the same he has the same stats as Mizuki, and those are really, really good stats. And also allows for more Xyz plays and synchro plays, stuff like that, depending on what zombie deck you're playing. Next up is Crow Tengu. This guy's a level 4, 1400 attack, 1200 defense. When he is special from the graveyard to get to destroy a monster your opponent controls. Okay, now if they keep it like exactly like that, and it doesn't target or anything, that would be amazing. Of course, they'll probably say it'll target or something if they were to print these guys. And I really like that. That he doesn't target. He's just a destruction. You special summon from your graveyard, pop a card, and then you go for a synchro and hopefully attack directly. Or heck, if you don't even go for synchro or an Xyz, you just attack directly. He's got 1400 attack. That's not too bad for level 4 from the GX era, but it really could have been better. Now, next up is Long-Tailed Black Horse. Honestly, I thought it looked more like a monkey. This thing is a level 4, 1400 attack, 800 defense. You can send one yokai type monster from your hand to the graveyard. This card gets 500 attack. Again, if they were to retool, if they were to print these, they would be retooled to be zombie support. And again, if this was just, let's just say you can send one zombie type monster from your hand to the graveyard. This card gains 500 attack. That's not a once per turn effect. That is honestly kind of okay. Maybe not as insane as it used to be, but think about that. Okay, I send 2 Mizukis and a Plague Spreader from my hand to the graveyard. This thing gets 1500 attack. It's now level 4 of 2900 attack, and I've got all this fuel in my graveyard. That is amazing. That is so amazing. I really do like this card, especially if, again, they were to be released and they would be retooled for zombie support. This thing would be amazing for zombie decks, because not only would you be able to get them like pumped up to incredibly high attack power very easily, but you'd be able to get a lot of your zombies that's active in the graveyard very, very fast. I mean, it's not a once per turn. I know in Konami they would change it to once per turn if this were to be printed. Knowing them. God dang it, Konami. And now here's honestly the best card in the deck. Okay, and I'm going to butcher the name. Unmoraki. I think I said that right. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, draw 1 card. That is insane. Okay, so Mizuki, special summon this thing, draw 1 card, overlay with, I don't know, Long-Tailed Black Horse, and then go for, I don't know, something that's legal, Castell, bounce something, okay, activate Call to Haunted, bring him back, draw 1 more card, and it'd be almost like having, crap, I forgot what it's called, that continuous spell card that lets you draw a card every time something is summoned from the graveyard. It'd be almost like having that again, except you'd have to rely on this guy. And by the way, since it's not a once per turn effect, and you can have multiples of these out. Imagine soul charging for 3 of these guys. Sure, you pay for 3,000 life points, but then you get to draw 3 cards. That is insane. This guy is really good. Granted, his stats really, really suck, but he's not bad at all. Being able to just draw a card anytime you special summon from the graveyard. And we have seen in the past how much drawing cards is needed in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now then, something I found interesting about this deck is that there are no spell cards, or at least on YGO Pro. But there are trap cards, and these 2 trap cards are really freaking good, especially in today's format. Now then, Ghostwave Reinforcements. Pay 1,000 life points, special summon 2 level 4 lower yokai type monsters from either player's graveyard. So, mirror match. Oh, hey, I don't have anything in my graveyard, but you do, so I'm taking those 2. And oh, hey, look at that. Now I got stuff for summoning Nine-Tailed Fox from the graveyard. Or for going for an Xyz summon. Or heck, normal summon out Plague Spreader. Go for the level 10 Beals, something like that. That is really good. Just being able to pay 1,000 life points to get 2 free monsters. That is insane. It's an instant Ixies. It's almost an instant synchro, especially if they were to give these guys more monsters. Although, granted, I'd prefer a few spells and maybe 1 or 2 more traps. But that is just really, really good. It just, considering today's format and everything, it's really good. Not only that, but also you get Tribute Fodder for summoning out Daidara Bachi if you actually want to play him. Granted, though, if they were to be printing this thing, I would hope that they'd make him playable in today's format. And then here is whenever I read this card, I almost like jaw hit the floor. Supposed to summon as many yokai type monsters as possible from your graveyard. Destroy them during the end phase. Okay. Back in GX era, I can see how this could be balanced. Okay, you just spell summon as many of your dudes from the graveyard. You try and attack. Oh hey, they Waboku crap. Everything dies at end phase. Nowadays, especially since it's not once per turn, that would be insane. This is a trap card version of Soul Charge without the cost of life points, and that is insane. And again, keep in mind that this would be more likely changed around to be used as zombie support, unless they would want to make the yokai an actual typing in the game. So this would be special summon 2 level 4 lower zombies from your graveyard. This would be special summon as many zombie monsters as possible from your graveyard. That would be insane. Like, Beal's Turbo would be obnoxiously broken. Freaking Shiranui would be the next freaking Quasar Turbo. Oh my god, just the sheer amount of possibilities. And then it even gets even better if you count in the fact that Zombie World would make everything else in the graveyard. Oh, so you killed my Stardust Dragon. Ah, hey, look, here he is. That is just really, really stupid. And granted, I would hope that if Konami were to print these, they would put a once per turn limit on here, or something else. Like, you can't summon anything other than zombie monsters that turn, or something like that. Aside from that, these 2 cards, honestly, are probably what make the deck. And just think about this, okay? Activate this, special summon 3 of this guy, and 2 of this guy, draw 3 cards, pop 2 cards your opponent controls. That is stupid. I mean, holy crap. These 2 cards make the deck, and if they were to be printed, this whole deck, they would have to either put yokai in the name, okay, and make these exclusive to the archetype, or risk a tier 0 zombie deck being made. I would not be surprised if something like that were to be made. Granted, though, these are trap cards, and they are easier to negate than spell cards. But, however, these are still some insanely powerful trap cards. And I just really, really like them a lot, honestly. The sheer thought of how powerful that they would be retooled as zombie support cards just kind of boggles my mind and kind of scares me, honestly. Holy crap. Now then, so overall, if Konami were to print these guys, I don't see very many changes that would need to be made aside for Daidara, and obviously retooling them as zombie support instead of yokai support, because yokai is not an actual typing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that it just caused too much of a hassle. And I mean, they already printed Mizuki because for some reason Mizuki got printed, but nothing else in the deck. Seriously, here's Mizuki in the manga. Starting from the next turn after this card was sent to the graveyard, you can exclude this card from play from your graveyard, special summon 1 yokai type monster from your graveyard. Again, he basically had the same effect, except it was you had to wait a full turn, which is honestly a bit more fair than the real life version. But I digress. So, overall thoughts, if Konami were to print this, they would have to either put yokai in the name and make them zombies, and then make these exclusive to yokai monsters with yokai in the name, and they would have to seriously beef up the effect of the boss monster, because right now Daidara is honestly borderline unplayable unless you're playing against another GX era deck. So overall, I really like this deck. I hope it gets printed one day. I don't think we have enough zombie archetypes. And heck, if they really wanted to, they could actually make the yokai typing. But again, that'd be too much of a hassle since a card in the deck has already been printed as a zombie, as retooled support for zombies. Now then, guys, thank you all for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. And before I end the video, if you're wondering about all this down here, these are all anime and manga archetypes that I do want to talk about. I don't know which one I'm going to talk about next, but hey, it's going to be one of them. And I'm just going to kind of use these down here to kind of mark which ones I have talked about, which ones I haven't. So guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please have a great day. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.